Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 271. Today we're going to talk about Steam Park. This is a game that was released late last year, I believe, early this year, 2014, by Yellow. Plays 2 to 4 players in about 60 minutes. It definitely can go much quicker than 60 minutes. Once you have, I believe, just one play should be enough. Basically, it's kind of a real-time dice rolling game. It's a very interesting game. You're trying to build basically a theme park for robots. So that is a weird theme, and it works really well for some reason. And basically what you're doing is you're sort of constantly rolling dice, and then slowly but surely players are going to stop rolling dice once they're satisfied with the results that they have. And then you're going to go into like sort of a, I don't know, action or buying phase where you're building rides and doing different actions, trying to play little kind of secret bonus cards to score a bunch of money or points. Money basically is points. So let's jump into how the game works, and I will tell you what I think. So here's just about everything you're going to get in the game. Each player is going to start with their own little board here. You can see it's divided up into these little grids. And on this, you're going to be putting a variety of different colors of rides and sizes. So here you can see there's actually 6 rides in each of the different sizes. So here we have a size 2 ride. You can see there's 2 spots. And these colors are going to match the different colors of robots. So you get like these little wooden, sort of meeple-ish kind of robots here. So you can see we have the little pink one there, and the little blue ones there. And so basically this one, it wants to have the blue robots. The blue robots like to ride this particular roller coaster. So you're trying to place these onto the board here. You may, through other actions in the game, get these little additional plots so you can kind of extend your amusement park out. And then each player is going to get this little, I don't know what that is, but it's like a little piggy bank kind of thing with a little, twisty crank thing on there. So what you're going to do is each player is going to take 6 dice, and then you're going to basically be constantly rolling and rolling and rolling, trying to get the perfect configuration for yourself of these little icons here. And these little icons, once everybody's done rolling, are going to give you several actions that you can do. You can see here the game lasts 6 rounds. You get this little round marker there. And the other thing that you're going to be putting onto your plots are these stands here. Now there's several different kinds. You can see you've got sort of a purple circus tent looking thing there. And then you have here, I believe this is the toilet. And so you've got like a few in the same kind, and I believe there is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different kinds. Now, there's basically 2 ways to play. My particular recommendation is to play with the stands without the special abilities the first time you play. Now, the first time I played, I actually did do it, and I frankly was kind of mind-boggled because of the pressure, the kind of the real-time dice rolling, until about probably the 4th or 5th round. Then I kind of had the hang of it. So if you play without these doing different special abilities, then these are basically just worth 3 points or 3 money at the end of the game. But the one thing that's a little bit tricky is sort of looking at this, picture of a tent and saying, oh, I know what this does. So basically in the rule book here, you have the description of the different special abilities. So it's just tricky to remember your first time playing what the toilet does and the casino does and what even is a casino, because the picture graphics don't really remind me of what the abilities do at all. But once you play the game, you kind of get it. So the other thing that players are going to get to start the game is you're going to be dealt 6 of these cards, and then you can choose 3. And basically you're trying to be playing these during the turn and during the different rounds to get different points. So this is number of red spaces in your park. And let's say you had 3 red spaces, so then you could collect $5. Or you can try to hold out and get 5 or more and try to get $11. So there's kind of an exponential ramp up. Number of purple spaces in your park, number of blue visitors in your park. Let's see, number of black visitors, number of green spaces, number of blank faces you rolled this turn. Because you can roll these and these don't really do any good, but if you've got that, you can kind of take a turn off and then try to get a bunch of points there. So you can actually get 13 points if you roll 4 blank spaces. So there's a whole variety of these, and you'll be drawing more of these throughout the game. So the dice rolling basically works as follows. Everybody will decide when to start, and then you'll roll, and then the first person that's done is going to take the top card of this little stack here. So this one here is basically the first player, and he's going to get a bonus of basically 4 shovels, and these shovels are going to be able to clean up dirt. Now the second player to go, let's say we're playing a 4-player game, will get 2 shovels. The third player to go will get no shovels, and then once 3 players have basically opted out of the round, then the last player has to stop what they're doing. They get 3 more rolls, and they can, do any dice that they want. And then after the third roll, they have to take this. And in this case, you're going to get 2 dirt. So there's some other ways that you're going to get dirt, and dirt is basically negative points in the game. So if we look here, let's say you ended the game with 11 to 13 dirt, you get minus 21 points. If you get more than 30 or 30 or more, you are removed from the game and automatically lose. So you want to try to get the least amount of dirt as possible. So I'll explain the other ways that you get dirt. These shovels, for example, are going to help you clean up dirt. So if you took, opted out last, and you had 2 dirt from the previous round, in the next round you went quickly and you were able to clean up basically 4 dirt, so 1 dirt for each of the shovels there. So there you go. So as I said there, you want to try to earn as much money as possible. We've got all kinds of different money tokens. They are not really double-sided, so the money is hidden. And then here you can see the dirt and the different robot meeples there. So that's the dirt tokens you collect, and those are the robot meeples. Now the interesting thing about this is as you put dice on this little pig, that locks the dice. So you can roll and roll and roll, and then you figure out, okay, I'm pretty much okay with this configuration, and then you can put these on there. So you have to have your 6th die on there before you can take one of these, and I really like that aspect of that. I'll talk about that more in the review. So once everybody's done and you've either collected dirt or not, then you're going to roll into the actions. Now you will also collect dirt for any dirt icons you have on the die, and so you might be able to see that. You see that little dirt thing there? So for every dirt there, you're also going to take a dirt in addition to if you took the last token there. And then for each of these robots that you may have on a ride, let's say I've got this guy here on a ride, so each of these here is going to generate 1 dirt as well. Now they are going to also generate money for you at the end of each round, but that's something to consider. As you build up more robots, you're going to make more dirt. So after everybody's sort of consumed their dirt, then you're going to be able to apply the actions of these dice. So what are the different actions that you can do? Well, the main thing you're going to be trying to do is use these here to build rides. And so you can use as many of these as you want to build as many rides as you want, but you can see, like, if I use one of these dice, I can build here a size 1 ride. If I use 2 at once, then I can do 2 and then a 3. Now you can never build the same size ride twice in a turn, so you can't do 2 2s or 2 3s. So you could do a 3, a 2, and a 1 if you wanted to. Now when you put these onto your boards, we'll move down to the board here, you have to place them separately if they are different colors. So they cannot touch at all if they're 2 different colors. If they are the same colors, let's say I came along later here and I built the size 1, I have to put it basically adjacent to the other matching color, and I can't do it diagonal. It's got to be sort of an orthogonal attachment there. So it's almost like you're growing the ride and sort of organically sort of making this ride more and more crazy as you get along there. So that's the rules for placing the rides, and this is what you want to build to get the robots on. The other thing you can do here is you can build stands here, and so this little tent here will allow you to build stands, and these stands have a similar idea here. Now these can't touch any rides or other stands unless they are of the same type. So here I've built these 2 tents here, and so these I can build next to each other. But again, you have that sort of spatial placement thing that you've got to consider. And also you'll want to be growing these and adding these little extra plots here. Now the extra plots can be added by spending any die that you want. So you can just spend, okay, I'm going to use this instead of as normal action, I'll use that die, and then I can add the plots on. Next we have these shovels here, and these are just like the shovels on those turn order cards there, and so for each shovel, basically 2 per die, you can clean up that much dirt. Next you can play 1 or more of these little robot icons there, and for each of these that you play, you're going to take that number of robots from the supply and then add them into that black bag there. Now the game starts with 1 of each of the 6 colors in there. So let's say here I had done 2 robots and I have a bunch of blue on my my plot there. So I'll go ahead and take 2 blue robots, put them in the bag, and then I'll shuffle a bag up and draw 2 more robots. And for each one that I draw that matches a color that I have available to me, then I can put that on there and then generate some points at the end of the round. And again, dirt at the beginning of the next round. Now the last thing you can do here is you can play this little mound, looks like it's shoveling a bunch of dirt, and for each of these that you can play a card out of your hand. So remember, you're going to have 3 in your hand at all times, and then for each of those you can play the card. So this one, for example, number of blue visitors in my park. So let's say I had got 1 or 2 of those, so I have 2 of those, so I can take and play that symbol, play the card, and I get $4. Now at the end of the round you're going to draw back up to 3 cards, and when you do that you always draw 2, look at 1 and keep 1 and then discard the other. So it does give you a little bit of choice, so it's not too random, but I have seen where you get kind of stuck and you're like, I'm not even going for red, you know, I got all these red cards. So you can still play it, you can see there for 0, so you can just get rid of cards. And sometimes I'll do that, I'll spend a turn where I dump a bunch of cards out because I don't do a lot of building, but I'll just kind of dump some cards out that are worthless. And yeah, that's kind of not a great turn, but you know, I'll do that so hopefully I can draw back up and get some cards that are going to be worth a ton more points. And then finally, at the end of the round, after everybody's taking their actions, you're going to get $3 for each robot that's in your park, and that's, you know, per round. So if you get some robots in there early, that'll be round after round. And finally, these stands, again, if you play sort of the basic game, these are just worth 3 points at the end of the game, but you do have different special abilities. So I'll just go over those very quickly. So first here we have the securities tent. And so when you take the action there to draw the robots out of the bag, for each security stand you have, in this case I've got 2, then I can put 2 back and draw 2 more and shuffle up. So I kind of increase my chances of drawing the robots that I need. Next we have these info points here, these little information desks. And for each one of these you can take and keep one of the robots that you drew that doesn't necessarily match the color, collect the income for them, and then you go ahead and put them back into the bag when you're done. The casino here, this one lets you change one of your die faces to whatever you want. So these can be kind of nice early, because then as you progress you can go along and not worry too much about getting every die exactly right for your plan. And then we have the toilet here, which will be kind of nice towards the end. This lets you change any of your little shovels there, and this counts as sort of 2 of those dice. So basically this will be 4 shovels for each of these toilets. Each die will be doubled up. I'm sorry, I probably explained that backwards. Basically 1 toilet, 1 die. I need another toilet to double another die. Just to make sure that's clear. Finally, we have the promotional stand. And this is a neat one, when you roll one of these, this counts as having 2. So if I had 2 promotional stands and rolled these 2, then I could take 4 of the robots, put them in the bag, and then draw them out. And that's how you play. Okay, hope you enjoyed the overview. This is a game I've been enjoying quite a bit. Now, it isn't not a game that I own. A friend of mine in my game group has it. Now, it turns out that the family has now grown weary of real-time gaming. So probably too much Space Cadets. but out of my game group, I probably like it the most, maybe even more than the guy that owns it. You know, but we're right up there, and then some other folks are kind of like, you know, it's a light little filler thing. But I really enjoy it. Now, a couple years ago, a game came out called Escape, and it was just constant dice rolling, dice rolling, dice rolling. I hated it. I still hate it. And since Space Cadets Dice Duel came out last year, and I really love that game. And I wasn't able to figure out exactly why, because it was really kind of baffling to me. Like, how can I like Dice Duel? Because I really don't like Escape, and you know, they have that thing in common. And you know, it's kind of a new style of game. Let's just roll dice forever until we find what we want. And so with this, I've been kind of able to figure out why I think I don't like Escape as much as I like Dice Duel and this game. And this game has a couple of things going for it that keeps me interested. One is the whole idea that you have to take the die and put it on the pig, and once it's on the pig, it's locked. So during that process, you sort of have to you know, go for, you know, trying to pick like a play for this round and kind of be satisfied at a certain level, so that you can, you know, you can grab the early turn order tile to get the extra shovels to clean, and also be able to do your actions first. So one thing I didn't mention in the walkthrough is that if I'm first, I get to do my builds first. So I get to pick and choose if I've got the right, you know, dice to build the level 3 black, you know, ride. and steal that from Billy, who really wants that because they're kind of building up a network of black rights. So as you're kind of rolling each dice, you've got to really be considering what other folks are doing, maybe kind of looking at them. And so it's not just a constant like roll, 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 and then like, I don't know, throwing some gimmick of keeping your eyes closed or not being able to talk. And so you have all those various decision points throughout the whole thing, and that can change during your die rolling. And so I really enjoy that part of it. And the other thing is the cards. Now, as I said, I've seen you get kind of handcuffed by the deal of the cards, but to me it kind of spreads itself around. You know, I'll have one round and I'm like, man, I have no cards that are worth a while, but it seems like everybody usually gets, you know, where most of their cards aren't really worth anything, and then the next few rounds everything is fine. And so I like that it kind of dictates your strategy a little bit. You know, it reminds me of some different games like, I don't know, Clash of Cultures and Ticket to Ride, and just, you know, any random game with sort of secret scoring ideas. And I think that's a fun mechanism to have. And so just those two things are really interesting. And you've got the whole sort of, it's almost like feeding your people in Agricola or something with the dirt. You know, you've got this whole negative thing kind of weighing down on you and pushing your luck into how far can I, you know, use all these different dirt archons and sort of ignore the shovels and ignore the cleaning and things like that. And do I kind of go after it early and then spend all my time in the last two rounds sort of, you know, cleaning up all the dirt and things. So there's a lot going on here, and leads into my first point. Do not play this, in my opinion, with the special abilities of the little tents, because it's very hard to sort of memorize. Okay, that is, I mean, the toilet one I always recognize because it looks like an outhouse. But the other ones I'm like, is that a casino, or is that the other thing that's like the red tent and the purple tent? So it's kind of hard to memorize what that does, and that's really going to be a huge part of the strategy. If you can buy those tents right and really kind of work those and plan your activities and your dice rolling around that, the game really starts to become, you know, have some depth to it and some, you know, some replay value there. But I think I like that they've included a very, like, oh, just make it worth 3 points, and you can kind of play a light, easy game, and that'll work well with kids. So this game kind of hits on all cylinders, and I reviewed a game recently called Mad City, which kind of had like a basic game and an advanced game. And the basic game would be more for like kind of your more small children game, and this one is kind of similar. I don't think real small kids could play this one, but you know, because of the cards and stuff. But I guess you could take the cards out, but that would be, I don't know, that'd be almost not a game in this case. But yeah, the components are really cool. I love the artwork on the roller coasters, and even the little tents and stuff are nice, and the icons are very clear on the cards. And it's just cool. You know, you bring in robots, and the robots are like riding these rides infinitely. You know, once they're on the ride, they never get off, and they're always generating money for you. So it's got a lot going on. A nice, quirky theme, good components, very interesting gameplay. It's going to be, you know, fast and fun, and I think replayable. But I would say, you know, play that basic game. Normally I say with these kind of intro level Euro whatever kind of game, you know, oh, jump in and just play the full advanced game. But I really found it difficult to work out the spatial element, you know, work around the cards, the pressure of rolling the dice, trying to memorize what all the stations were. That was very difficult. And like I said, it wasn't until the end of the first game when I was like, oh, okay, I get it, let's play again, you know. So that would be my recommendation, especially if you felt like this could be a gateway game for some folks that, you know, aren't used to, you know, operating on firing the synapses and all that stuff, especially with the pressure element. You know, all that kind of combined really makes it sort of dizzying. Anyway, so that is Steam Park. Take a look at it. Thanks.